Welcome to Trendy DIYs for the summer. Today we're going to be talking about some thrifting tips and how you can DIY these clothing items for a cute outfit to wear in the summer. First of all, I would like to show you the clothing items that we will be DIYing and what we will be making out of them. First, we have this shirt, which I thrifted for like $3. And then we will be making a tube top shirt that goes like this and wraps around the body to tie through and cross across the neck. And then we will be making a cropped cami that looks like this out of this brown cami. And then the last DIY that we will do today is be making a pair of shorts for a complete outfit to wear in the summer. So first of all, when thrifting, they always have, not always, but a lot of thrift stores have a discount code every single week, and it varies on the color of the tag on the discount, and it's usually 50% off. So for example, when I was buying these three items, they were all the blue colored tag, which is the color on the week, which meant that they were 50% off. It's definitely very important to look out for what deals are going on each week in order to get the best deal possible. Because I was able to buy all of this, including a Chinese checkers board game, for about $11. And $11 for a whole entire outfit is a really good deal. And it's more sustainable because you are purchasing secondhand clothing items rather than buying it new. And a lot of clothing can go to landfills and waste. And so this is just a really good way to stay trendy, stay on with what's cool, but as well as being affordable and sustainable for the earth. So let's get started. So the first DIY that we will be doing is making this cropped cami. So when searching for these cropped camis at the thrift store, I recommend looking for a kind that has a built-in bra inside. This is really nice for a few different reasons. First of all, you don't have to wear a bra with a cami, which is nice because showing your bra straps isn't necessarily the cutest look. And then, unless it's like a cuter bra. And then also, say cropped wasn't necessarily your thing, or you didn't want to fully crop the shirt, you're able to take the hem while wearing it and then tuck it under the bra in order to create a cropped cami, or keep the longer length if you want to wear it for other purposes as well. However, we will be cropping our example today just to show you what you can do and what it would look like. Because it is a little bit cleaner when you don't fold it under, because it can lead to like some ruffling in the item. You just have to really make sure that it's flat if you are going to do it that way. This way will make it a little bit cleaner though. So the first thing that you will need, and really only because this is a non-sew DIY, is scissors. And so there's a few different ways that you can cut your clothing items. Some are more professional than others. First of all, if you really do get into this and love crafting, I highly recommend like a mat board for sewing and a roll cutter. So you can just press on it, unlock the safety, and then you can roll along the straight lines that are on the mat cutter and then make a really nice clean line. However, you don't need to purchase those things. It's not necessary. You can totally use scissors that are in your house. That's what I'm going to be doing right now because I don't have that stuff. It's at home. But so if you would like also for more purchasing things, you could get a chalk pen. And so basically it's just a really light chalk piece of chalk and a pen, and it's white, and you can make very thin straight lines, and you can really see what you want to cut and make a line before you cut it, and it will wash out because it's chalk. Or you can just flip it inside out and then kind of try it on, decide where you want to cut it. You can either, it's up to you, of course. If you want to, you can draw, you can take something, anything. I use a notebook all the time. You can take a flat, straight surface and then you put it down, and then you can get a marker, and then you can trace the marker, and so you know where to cut if you don't want to buy the chalk. However, today I'm going to do it the easy way, or the simplest way, and the cheapest way, just to show you guys. But I really just fold it to where I want to cut it. Actually, what you do is you start. So what you do is you start the shirt by determining where you want to cut it and how much you want to take off. You do that by trying it on. I did that before this live. So then you cut right where you want to cut it shorter at. And then once you make the small incision like this is what I like to do. I like to lay it flat and then fold it lightly on one half, and then follow this line to keep the line straight, and it will get bigger as you start cutting more. So like now I do it again, and just lining up the hems just to make sure that you're getting a nice clean cut without having to get a pen or draw on your clothing. Because especially if you're doing something with white, you don't necessarily want to take a marker to it, because it'll show up on the other side. Or something dark like this, it's kind of hard to see the marker. It won't be necessarily the most perfect cut, and that's okay, because you can pull at it at the end after you cut the item so that it gives it like a mock hem, and like it looks a lot cleaner. I'll show you once I'm done, but you just continue to fold, see where you want to go, see where you've been, and then just cut. I really like doing DIYs like this because I find it really soothing, and I really love fashion and all that comes with it, except it's just not necessarily the most sustainable option all the time, or necessarily the cheapest one. And as a college student, I can't necessarily afford to spend all my money on clothes as much as I might want to. I need to buy important things like food. And so doing stuff like this really just gives me a craft to get away from my studies, as well as come up with some new clothing to wear that's cute and budget friendly. So you just keep cutting. This material is like a spandex material, so it's a little harder to cut, although it does come with a little bit of a cleaner cut. Definitely pay attention to the material of the shirt that you're purchasing. It depends on the DIY and the material, but like, don't buy a sweater and try to crop it. That's not gonna work. It's just gonna come undone. But something like this will stay intact and stay strong for continuous wear and wash. So you can, I always recommend when making these crop tops to shorter, keeping longer length on the shirt, because you can always cut it more later, but you can't reattach it if you cut it up too high. So I've definitely had a few different shirts that I've wasted because I thought I was cutting it right, and then it ended up just being way too short and not something I really wanted to wear, or it wasn't really purposeful. And the whole point of doing this is not to waste the products, it's to be purposeful in what you're making and creating, and to have a good time while you're doing it. So it's really important I recommend cutting less first, and then seeing what it looks like and see if that's what you intended. Definitely always go probably like, if you do draw the line, probably like an inch or two, just because after you cut it, you might have an uneven line and you want to fix it up, or many different reasons. But this is what we got. It's really cute. I wanted it to be a little bit of a longer length, and that's exactly what it is. So the hem isn't totally perfect, and that's totally okay. You just got to make sure you just check it out, see that it's not completely wonky, and then see, like, because it's a little bit longer on this side than I would say it is on this side, but I don't mind. I could cut it if I wanted to, but I'm just going to pull at it right at the bottoms, and that's just going to roll the hem up, and then you won't be able to see the raw hem anymore. So that's now what it looks like that. And that is just a little bit more cleaner, in my opinion, and it doesn't look as wonky. Of course, you can sew a new hem onto the bottom if you really want it to be super clean. This is a non-sew DIY, so we won't be doing that. Another option, although for non-sewing, is you can get fabric glue, and you can take the fabric glue and then glue it down and then fold it over, and then you would have a nice clean hem. But that's totally unnecessary, not totally necessary. It's up to you entirely and what you're envisioning and what you're making, because this is totally up to you. You can be totally creative. You can make whatever you want and just do what you want. What's nice though is I like to keep like scraps like this just for other projects. Like I may try to turn this into a bandeau top just to save the extra material and so that it doesn't go to waste to wear like under tank tops. You could, that's pretty simple to do. Actually, you would just we could do it right now. So you just cut it in half. Yeah, you just cut it in half, and like I said, you can get creative with it and how you want to do this, of course. But for example, I think it would be really cute if you got some safety pins and you use safety pins to attach it right here. So you could either have like, so you can adjust the length on how you want it to fit your body. And then you could, or you could cut the ends into into triangles and then tie it on the back, and then it'll create look like a nicer looking bow than if you try to tie it like just straight and flat like this. Like you would want to cut it like the ends off like a triangle like that, and that will make it look like a really nice clear bow. So that's the DIY. This was $3. You could buy something like this on sites like Princess Polly or Brandy Melville for like 25 plus, and you don't need to. You can just make it yourself and have a good time and make it, adjust it to how exactly you want it, because a shirt that you buy from the store, you can't control how long it is, but a shirt that you buy from the store to DIY, you can. Okay, so for the second DIY, you're going to be making the other crop top. So the first thing that you would do is so you're going to cut this shirt into two, and this, I love this DIY because it gives you two shirts in one. So first of all, I recommend for this DIY in particular, a stretchier material, because you will be taking the width of this shirt and wrapping it around your body. And so you definitely want a stretchy material so it'll be able to fit. That's a mistake I made with this one. I used kind of a cotton material and definitely not big enough of a shirt, so it doesn't fully wrap around like I intended, but a material like this should. And definitely a bigger shirt I would recommend. Like this is a large. I kind of wish it was an extra large or an extra extra large, but we'll see how it goes. So first off, we want to cut so we want to cut in the middle of the shirt. We want the top of the shirt to stay as is, and it will be left like that, and that will be your own just normal kind of t-shirt crop top, and you can wear it as is. And then you want to leave it depending on how big of the bandeau that you would like it to be. So just kind of eyeball it, see what works for you, and it also depends on chest size. If you have larger chest, you have a larger chest, I would definitely recommend a bigger shirt and to go up higher. But I definitely want to still keep the shirt on top because I want to have 2 shirts out of 1. So I don't want to go up any higher than this. And I already think I'm going up pretty high. So you just cut it forward and then repeat the thing that I taught you before. And you just fold it up and then you cut alongside of it so you can see the line. And then you just cut. I like to listen to music while I do crafts like this. I just find it a lot more relaxing, and it just really helps with getting the motion of it. And there's something really satisfying about making your own clothing, especially when you get to wear it and people give you a compliment on that clothing. You're like, hey, I made it, and you can too. This is how. And it's really great, like, conversation starter to have. So sometimes you can have difficulty when cutting. I kind of like to grab my fingers and tuck it in on above and below just to tighten it and then cut. And pulling it away makes it a lot easier from each other, like this. And we were going to cut it. Makes it easier to cut it cleaner, and it's not as wonky. But definitely give some tension to it. Otherwise, it can make kind of an uneven cut. And we're not looking for that. Not today. So just keep cutting. It can get tedious. Your hand can cramp up a little bit, but the end result is 100% worth it. Okay. So this is the top. It is a little bit of a shorter crop top than I would probably wear. So for something like this, I don't want to waste it. I still think it's really cute, and it has this nice embroidery detail in it. So something like this, the way I would probably style it would be with like a longer white crop top or a longer white bra that's like lacy, and then probably something high-waisted. That way I can still wear this but still feel comfortable with how much of my stomach is showing. And of course, it's up to you. If this is your vibe, this is your vibe. I'm just giving different options depending on what your vibe is, on how you would like to dress. So for the rest of this DIY, what you want to do is, so I do have a little bit of a wonky cut right there, but I don't think you'll be able to see it in the end result because of the ruching that will be involved. So the next step of this DIY is to cut the hem off. So the hem is the bottom of the shirt that is sewn like this, and we're going to be using that as the straps. So I'm going to go where the hem is connected with the side of the shirt, because if you look at a shirt and you view them in shapes, it makes it a little bit easier to understand how to deconstruct and construct them. So for example, like this is a rectangle panel and this is a rectangle panel. So at that intersection is where I'm going to cut it, just because it'll look a little cleaner, which is really important to make the effort to make sure that it looks clean, especially in non-sewing DIYs, because sewing is what makes clothing traditionally look clean and put together. So you just go up, and you don't want to go up too high, and then you start cutting across the hem. So just pull at it, give it some tension, like I said before, and then just follow the seam. And that's about it for this part. And you just keep cutting. I love thrifting because it's really relaxing to like go to the store and get all these different like good deals, because like you're gonna come home and you're like, wow, look, I got all this stuff for like $12, which is what isn't even enough to get me one normal shirt. And I got 3, all just by paying attention to what I'm looking for. And my biggest advice is when going to the thrift store is a lot of people have issues with some of the clothing in there because it can be a little outdated and not necessarily what's trendy. And that's really what I'm trying to show you with this DIY. You just gotta pay attention and just be a little creative with what you're looking for, and you can totally make clothing from the thrift store that is relevant to current fashion trends, if that's what you're looking for. And if it's not, they have that too. You just gotta be, um, you just gotta look and be creative with what you want to wear and how you want to express yourself. Because clothing is a way that we can express ourselves and without having to voice it anything. And I think that's a really cool way to be like, hey, this is me, and that's it. And you can see it in the way that I dress. So you just keep going around the hem. It can take a little bit of time, but just keep going. And definitely just like slight adjustments can make big differences on how this fabric's going to be cut. And you just got to like kind of feel what makes sense and what's going to do the best. You don't really want the fabric to fold before you cut it, and that's because that's what leads to those uneven lines. So you want to make sure that the fabric is completely straight and not folded within. I'm almost done here. And then okay. So after you cut it all the way around, you are left with this panel. That's a bigger version of the panel I showed you before, basically. So what you do from this point on is you can clean up the hem. I have some really straight parts, and then I have some not as straight parts, but that's something I'll do later just so I can show you guys. And so what you do is you take the shirt and you don't put it on, but you take the panel and then you would wrap it around your body, and then you would take the top 2 corners and then pull it. I'm going to stretch this shirt out just because I can tell it's the material and that it needs it. But so you just pull at it. You can hear the seams breaking a little. Totally fine. Nothing will happen to it. So you just take the hem that you cut off, and then you take the fold of the shirt and you pull it through, and then you have this. I'm just gonna grab it, just leave it there for now, and then you do the same thing on the other side from the bottom. And this is just how I'm showing you to tie it. You can really get creative with this shirt. There's a lot of different ways that you can tie it, but once you have it like this, you would take it around your neck, and then you would make a bow, like a whatever simple bow. I'll just show you for this. And then you would readjust it. Okay, the bow fell off, but basically this ruching would go over the cup area, and this ruching would also go over the cup area. And then I like to tie it like this when I make these shirts, is pull it out to make sure that it's like an evenish length. It's a little bit longer on that side. And then take it, and then like you're tying your shoe, just kind of cross it like that. And then that's an easier way to tie it, especially if your hair's down. And then you can just tie the bow, and then you just kind of readjust it. I might have tied the bow a little bit too low, but you can get the gist of what it should. Okay, I definitely tied the bow too low. So we just loosened it. And then there's your shirt. So you can tie this in. You can just, for the raw hems on the bottom, you can just slightly tuck it in. It just gives it the appearance of a clean hem. And then you can adjust it to what's needed. You could tie it right here and then tie it in the back. I've seen that. And then, or you can just get creative with what seems to fit the best. But this is what it looks like from the front. And then this is what it looks like from the back. And yeah, that's really it. That's for this DIY. And I love it because now, instead of with one shirt, I now have two for completely different vibes and for the summer. So the last DIY that we will be doing today is the jean shorts. Okay, so there are so many different ways that you can get creative with denim in DIYing. So when shopping for denim at the thrift store, I definitely like going to the men's area just because they tend to be a little bit more high-waisted, and I just am able to wear it a little bit higher on the waist, which is the kind of style that I look for. So I definitely recommend looking in the men's jeans, and any section of the men's too. There's so many different clothing items that you could completely miss and you could totally wear because clothing is not, doesn't have a gender. So so when doing a DIY like this, as I previously mentioned, there's a lot of ways that you can get really creative with it. So this is a dark denim, and something that I'm envisioning for this, after you create the shorts, taking bleach to half of the panel, not this panel, and having like a white half and then like a black half of the shorts. And that's a really great DIY. You can look it up online, but basically you just mix water and bleach together and then paint it on. You could do fun painting patterns. Like you could take a paintbrush and this bleach mixture and draw like fun swirls or butterflies, or you can get stamps and then take the stamps in the bleach mixture and then press them onto the jeans. And then you have like a nice clean stamp of what you're trying to image, and it'll just lighten because of the bleach and the dark. You can also do it with blue denim. It won't be as drastic as if you did it with this kind of denim, but I still think it looks really good. It can turn like a dark blue into a white. The longer you leave it in the bleach mixture, the whiter that it will get. So for this DIY, what you would do is you would take these pants and you would take them inside out, and then you would try them on. It's a little funny to try on jeans inside out, but it's something we must all go through. And then you rebutton them, or if you can. And this way, if you're drawing on them this way, when you have them up on, you can determine the length that you want to cut the shorts to. And then you wouldn't be able to see the marks that you make. So I will cut it and then I'll show you. Especially I would say with denim is to cut longer than to cut shorter. Just because the fits can be different and there's different things you can do with it. You can really customize it to the denim to looking the way that you want it to look. Say you wanted it to be folded on the front but not the back. You could get some fabric glue and then pin it up in the front. So it's still long in the back, but still shorter in the front, which is something I like to do. But so basically, kind of hard, especially with thick denim like this, but you'll get there. You just cut across like that. And then you line up the seams the best you can and fold it like so. And then I'm lining up the seams up here too, because up by the waistband, because that's really important to make sure that part's even. And then lining it up the best I can. Like this with one leg, you can see exactly where to cut it on the other side. So very simple. I'll show you. So okay. So now that you have it lined up, you just cut across it again. So I definitely recommend looking for basic items when you're at the thrift store because you can add so many embellishments to it later to make it like unique. So for example, like you could go to Michael's or Hobby Lobby or wherever and find some patches, and then you can iron them onto your jeans or your shirts or whatever and just give it a fun pop of color, or just make it a little bit more unique than a plain like white tee, for example. Like if you got a butterfly patch and you ironed it on to the center of a white t-shirt, that's literally a shirt on Brandy Melville and it's like $28. And you could make it for $6 probably. Or with something that you own already in your clothing. That's also really important to keep in mind is DIYs are not limited to clothing at the store. You can start in your own closet. You have a whole closet of clothes probably that you do not wear because you've either outgrown them or they're just not for you anymore. And that's totally fine. You can DIY those items so that they are more your style and that you are wearing them and that your money's not going to waste. So that's a really good option. I think it's important to also donate, purchase it and wear it and use it, especially if you're not, because otherwise it's just going to be sitting in your closet. What's the fun in that? Oh, so this last bit right here is a little bit difficult, but you just got to give it some tension. And boom. So the next step would be to put it back into place, not inside out. And then, boom. Here is a longer pair of shorts. And the reason I cut them this long is, one, longer shorts are in trend this year for this, and I think they look nice and look pretty clean. But also, if you don't want a raw hem like this and you don't want to buy fabric glue, you can fold the hem over. I recommend doing this while you have it on because then you can really see how you want it to fit your body. And then you can just fold it again. And then you do it on the other side. Keep it like even, probably like inch folds or a little bit less than an inch depending on the style and look that you're going for. But I like really big, thick folds, especially for the second one. Yeah. And then suddenly you got a shorter pair of shorts. I would probably, when I'm folding it on my body, would fold it higher in the corners of the leg, but still maintain length underneath here. But it's up here a little bit higher on the side of the leg. I think that's really flattering. Although this is a non-sewing DIY, I couldn't recommend enough just having like a simple sewing kit and just learning how to do a simple seam. For example, this shirt, while I was trying to figure out how I wanted to make it and what I wanted to do with it, the strap snapped off, which was very sad. And I just used a sewing kit and re-sewed it with a simple stitch. In terms of sewing kits, you can find them at like any craft store and they're not very expensive. But I do like this. My mom taught me this, but every time I go to a hotel room, I have a big mason jar and I but I take the little sewing kits that they have, and that way I have a bunch of different colors and fabrics, and they're all to match whatever project I'm doing, and they're all already attached to a needle. And I don't know if you've ever tried to put a thread between a needle. It's not as easy as it sounds. So it's really nice that it comes like that and ready for you to sew. Very limited experience needed. So this is definitely something I would recommend implementing as well. So that was all for our DIYs. Thank you for coming, and I hope you enjoyed all the different projects that we've created, and we made a whole outfit or multiple. For example, you could wear this brown tank top with this crop shirt over top of it, and then the shorts as well, like so. Or you could wear the shorts with the wraparound top, or you could just wear the tank top. There's a lot of different options and a lot of different ways that you can get creative with your DIYs. You just got to get out there, start seeing what's there and what you can make with what you got. And that's it. So thank you for coming. I hope you guys have a good one. Bye.